Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Tess Cohen. I am on the GBC Level Up Academy planning team, and thrilled to have you all here with Benita Samuels, the CEO and founder of Visibility Solutions Group, for her session on easy ways to amplify your brand's digital presence for free. The 5 places you need to be online and why. And feel free, as Benita's sharing, to jot anything down in the chat. Any questions, we'll have plenty of time for that. And without further ado, I will pass it over to Benita.
Thank you. Thank you, Tess. I love to start when I'm doing these types of presentations with understanding what types of roles you play or your business is in. So if you're comfortable, I'd love for you to drop in the chat if you're a small business owner and what type of business is, or if you work for a company and what their business is and your role. That will give me a chance to speak directly to, you specifically when it might make sense as we talk through this. So, if there's anybody who's comfortable sharing, please drop it into the chat. I would love to know so that I can help make this more personalized as we go through this. Horse and Design Brewing, that's great. Oh, love Fort Collins. Thank you. So, anybody else, feel free to drop in, and we're going to just kind of move on here. We've got consultant and operational excellence and growth. So great, Bryce. Pillar, sole proprietor. Yep, I am a sole proprietor as well. So this is going to be perfect for each of you as we move through this. So what is digital and social visibility? Well, summing it up very straightforward, it's how noticeable your business is online. We talk about online visibility, we talk about online presence, but straightforward is, where is your brand, or are you as a brand showing up when people are looking for you? And this is not just having a website. This means, where are your ideal customers spending their time, and where can they easily find you? This often gets confused with SEO. I'm sure you probably have all heard SEO, you need SEO, you need SEO. We're not going to talk about SEO today. SEO is often is done with a paid scenario. We're talking free or almost free. And SEO really only enhances your website on search engines. So we're going to talk about digital visibility and where you are online. So let's jump in here. Be where your customers are, not where you think they are. Today's customers aren't really looking for you. They're looking for you to show up where they're at. So in the chat, let's share, with me, who are you? Who are your customers? Are they men? Are they women? Are they boomers? Are they millennials? Are they high-income users? Are they wellness people? Let's talk a little bit about what you interpret your target to be. And then we will talk about how and where you can impact those customers online. So my customers are generally solopreneurs or small business owners looking to increase their digital and social visibility or level up with LinkedIn. The question I have is, are you visible in the right places? Are you aware of the platforms where your brand appears, the impressions it's leaving, and, whether these are the same places your target customers frequent? So, we look at 3 things here. We look at the platforms. Is your brand visible across different digital platforms? Because that's crucial. And knowing where and how you appear ensures effective audience engagement. And engagement is really important here. Also, what impression is it that you're leaving? This is vital. If in one place you say your business is located here and then you have an old address somewhere else, or you were using this tagline and you've changed it, or you've optimized your brand logo, all of those things leave an impression on your audience. So you really want to make sure that you're delivering quality content that is giving a seamless user experience across all platforms. And then obviously, as I touched on, you have to understand how your brand is represented and it's aligned with the target audience. Today's consumer, even though historically the population has been led by boomers and Xers, clearly we know that they are aging out, and millennials are now a larger population across most social platforms. And understanding the things that are important to them are crucial for you to have success in your marketing. Understanding that audience is very committed to their values and philanthropy. So making sure that you're taking those kind of things into consideration. So the presentation today is all about the 5 places you need to be online and why. So here they are. Pretty straightforward. You need to have a brand website. You need to have a LinkedIn profile. You need to have a Google My Business listing. You need to be in business directories and recommendations and review. That's it. Now you know. If it was that simple, right? So in the chat, if you're comfortable, I'd love for you to put a 1 to 5 if you are in these. If you have a brand website, put 1. If you have, 2 of them, put 2. Just kind of let me know, are you already showing up in line in some of these places? You might be just starting out, so you might have only built a website. You might have, you might not realize what you can do with Google. So, look, this is great. We've got a 3, we've got some 1s. I saw a 5, 3.5. So, really, you are all at least starting with your foundation. And we're going to talk a little bit deeper now on each of these of the 5 and why they're important and how you can develop them. So like Anima, that I'm saying that correctly, you'll understand the tools and how you can do these for free or almost free. So let's start with your website. So most people start with a website. I will tell you, it's not where I tell my clients that they have to start, because it can be a big nut to chew. But the truth of the matter is, your website is your brand's digital storefront. It is going to be the thing that's going to bolster your visibility, and it serves a practical function for people to know what you do, who you serve, and, in a mobile-centric world, you really need to make sure that it's mobile responsive. So for those of you that have websites, think about it, check your mobile phones, catch your devices, because we need to make sure that we're meeting our audience where they're at. Are they using desktops or are they using mobile or tablets? And for those of you who don't have a website, you can craft a website very easily using free online tools like Wix, Squarespace, or Weebly. Google offers. Most of these are drag and drop. If you've ever done a PowerPoint presentation, it's pretty straightforward. Now with things like ChatGPT, you can really write it easily if you don't consider yourself a writer. So, website is the most obvious and where your business is really going to start from its visibility standpoint. However, I should tell you that I am a LinkedIn forward person. LinkedIn is my platform of choice. And truthfully, it's the first place most people stop before they go to your website. When they search online, unless they are typing in your website name, your LinkedIn profile is going to show up first. When they're searching for business types, LinkedIn topics often show up first. So my recommendation is, if you don't have a website, it's okay to build your LinkedIn profile out first, because it gives you opportunities to showcase your business with features and elements within there, so that if you don't have a website, you're fully delivering on what exists. Now, do you need both a personal and a business LinkedIn, Sonal, you're asking? My recommendation is yes, with the understanding that a business LinkedIn page is used for 2 things. It used to validate your business and bolster you, 3 things: bolster you in search, and to simply to use it for business-related promotional type of content. When you're using LinkedIn on a personal and a business level, you want to do an 80-20 split. 80% of your LinkedIn content should be personally coming from a first person. And that would be on your personal page. And then 20% would be talking specifically about the brand, what the brand offers, or features the brand benefits. And you put that on your business page. You can then share it to your personal page, but keep your personal page in the first person. Thank you for the question, Sonal. The other thing is, what you have to understand is LinkedIn drives more traffic to your website than Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter combined. And in search, it drives 46% of its traffic to LinkedIn before it drives it to your website. So even though I start this presentation saying, you have to have a website, many people find it a little overwhelming to start with a website, but can do a LinkedIn page. And so you can use that. You can have your personal link to it, so you can share that. You can include calendar invites. So, the first, website; 2, in this case, LinkedIn; 3, Google professional page, which was formerly known as Google My Business. I'd love in the chat if you could share, just say me, if you have a Google professional page or a Google My Business page. This is one of the things that I find so many businesses, small businesses specifically, overlook. Right now, it's like a 50-50 between everybody who's here in the room. Yep, literally, we're going 50-50. Yes, no, yes, no. Oh, there's 2 no's. Yep. So we've all seen Google My Business pages. And, Jennifer, they actually have made it much easier now to set up the page. But this is when you search and you're looking for a business, that little box that comes up on the right-hand side where it has some pictures and the business name and address, this is your Google business page. Prior to COVID, it was hard to get a Google page because they used to limit those with only that had physical locations. But that's not this case anymore. Google has now shifted so that you can put in that you don't have a physical location. And the reality is Google, you're much more strengthened by having something on Google. Google is the largest search engine, followed by YouTube. Yes, YouTube is the second largest search engine. And should I mention, YouTube is owned by Google. And as I say here, Google loves Google. It prioritizes its own platform. So when you are using Google, you are enhancing your digital visibility. It also provides business legitimacy. Like I said, it's free and it's much easier to set up now. What you might not also realize that you can post content on Google now, like on social media. So I have some clients where I post their blogs on Google with a link that drives back to their website. So not only is Google seeing the blog on their website as content and giving them credit for that, they're seeing that you're adding content to Google and giving you credit there. So again, it's boosting you in those search rankings without having to pay for SEO. So I highly encourage you to set up a Google page. It also, for those that have, you can put visuals of your products and services. So I don't have tangible products, but I have services, and I have those with visuals on my Google page. So you can see that. If you're at a speaking event and you want to share a picture of the speaking event or promote that, you can put that on your Google page. Hilda, just a really quick circle back here. I have not mentioned Facebook, but I'll talk about that when we get to the end, because I think that's something that's important to understand. I did mention it in the sense that, having LinkedIn is more valuable than Facebook. Okay, let's go to the next. So that's 3. Just to recap, number 1 was website. Number 2, is LinkedIn, and number 3 is Google My Business. Flavor, should there be links to YouTube on your Google My Business page? Absolutely. If you have the ability, if you have videos that you want to post on LinkedIn or products and link them to YouTube, absolutely, because that provides value in multiple ways. One, it creates backlinking. So Google loves backlinking. And 2, you're getting credit from both YouTube and Google My Business for that content, which again increases your search ranking. The other thing to know, which is not in this presentation, but video has a 90% higher retention rate than other forms of content. Now, you have to use multiple forms of content when you're doing things like social, because you have some that are visual learners, some that are learn auditorily, some like to read. So you have to make sure you include all of those. But the truth is, videos have a higher retention rate than regular text or image content. So let's move on to number 4. This one is so important, and we all understand it, yet we too often make it a low or no priority in our business. And that's reviews and reputations. This is about fueling trust and loyalty for your business. We all know that we ask our friends, well, what did you think of this restaurant? We all know that we search restaurants for the reviews before we make a decision if we're going to go to the restaurant. It is no different with our businesses. So they are a vital part of being successful and increasing your reputation and your visibility online. The more reviews you generate, the more content that creates on the digital landscape. I know it seems funny, but that's what these search engines are crawling. They're looking for everything and anything that relates to you and your business. So by using platforms like Google, Yelp, recommendations on LinkedIn, reviews on Facebook, those all are going to elevate you in the search rankings. I tell all of my clients it's really valuable that if you have a closeout process after you work with a client, to send them a specific request for reviews. If you do have physical products, then make sure that you send them a follow-up or a surprise and delight and ask for reviews. Generally speaking, people are really happy to give reviews when you ask. And they're really happy to give reviews when they've had a poor experience. So you're better off asking, because those ones don't always come naturally as much as the negative reviews. So if you aren't asking reviews, I highly recommend it. And you can also on Google connect your social pages. So you can connect Facebook, and it will show that it will show your Facebook reviews as far as, we'll say Facebook 5 out of 5, things like that. So that you can increase the value of those reviews exponentially by adding those into your Google My Business page. The thing about all of these platforms and all of these things that I'm mentioning, so many times they interconnect. So if you're putting content on your website, you can put it in a newsletter on LinkedIn, and you can put it in Google with a link back to the website. So you have repurposed that content multiple ways and affected the search engines and increased your visibility, all with a single point of content. You can get reviews on Facebook and put them on Google. They're showing up in multiple places. So it's really about adding that increased visibility. I like to call it compounding interest. We all understand compounding interest as it relates to money. Well, in the digital and social landscape, the compounding interest is the more things that you put out, the more things you get value for. So, Tess, I see that you have a question that you would like to ask verbally. Sure.
Yeah, I just felt like a lot to put in the chat. Whenever I finish a client engagement, I ask for testimonials, and then I do ask them to share it in LinkedIn as they do whatever, like recommendations. But then it just feels like a lot to be like, and can you post on LinkedIn? And can you put it on Google Business? Like, all the things. I guess I'm just curious of your thoughts of like, where's the best bang for your buck to ask clients for that ask?
Right. So for me personally, because I'm a heavy LinkedIn user, I try to ask for one LinkedIn review a month, and then I send other people to my Google page. So if it, because that's my platform of highest engagement. If you find that you're getting it from multiple places, I alternate it. I ask one client to do Google, and then I ask one client to do it on LinkedIn, because if you are getting most of your traffic and most of your visibility is coming through the web, you want to increase those Google reviews. If they're coming mostly through Facebook, make sure you put the link on Google that shows your Facebook reviews, because you get a double value there. So that would be my recommendation. Consider where your customers are and focus most of the energy there. Does that help, Tess?
Yeah, for sure.
And, if you find that you're not really getting traffic through the website, because as I said, what data shows is that when people search, they generally go to your LinkedIn before they go to your website. Try to build up at least 6 to 10 reviews on Google for nothing more than the value proposition that it provides. And then focus your reviews on another platform, if that makes sense. Of our 5 things, I know I keep saying this, but I like to reinforce, we have the website, we have LinkedIn, we have Google, and now reviews and reputation. And there are multiple platforms. And yes, Tess, I think it's challenging to ask for multiple platforms. Sometimes in my wrap-up process, I have a document that I send out, and I list my 3 preferences, and I let them pick which one they want to choose. So if they want to, pick Google, they'll click into the Google, and they're links directly to the reviews, so they can pick where they want to go. Bryce, thanks so much for popping in. And let's hit number 5 here. So I think this is probably the most underrated for online value. And these are directories and listings. So often we join groups. We're part of an alumni association. We're part of Good Business Colorado, but we don't fully complete or spend time filling out those 3 free listings that they give us as part of being the group. Every single one of those bolsters your visibility online. Not only does it enhance from the backside the search links and your visibility in search, but most of us tend to turn to the places where we know people for services. So you're going to go to your networking group directory or your church directory or another organization that you're a member of to see if anybody there can help you with what your needs. So leverage these directories and listings. There's also free ones that you can find online. There are places like, if you are a service business, Angie, now you can list for free. So there are a lot of different ones, you can put up on Nextdoor, you can put up on, what's the other one I'm thinking of? But there are all of these community listings that are for free that you can post in as well. These are all highly valuable when it comes to your visibility, and then in turn, hopefully as a referral source. So I like to say that the premise is simple. Greater visibility equals greater opportunity. And visibility is at your fingertips, okay? All of these things give you those opportunities. These 5 essential sources amplify your online presence, enhance your reputation, and pave that way for customer acquisition. So if you haven't set these up, I would say go in order of what I've talked about. and just work your way one by one. Make a commitment this week. I'm going to, a website might take a little longer. So get up your primary page and your services page. And then go in and work on your LinkedIn profile. And for the LinkedIn profile, when you're doing it, start at the bottom. Start up with all of those things at the bottom of your profile that are easy to fill in. Put in the languages you speak, and please remember to put in English because people want to know that. Put in where you went to school. Put in the organizations you're a member of. Those things you can go in and you can spend an hour and get 40% of your LinkedIn profile complete. You can set up your Google My Business page in 20 minutes. So make a list and put it in your calendar, one a week. Set it up for what makes sense for you. Okay? So a couple of things as we're starting to wrap up this part of the presentation. I do like to take a moment and kind of give you a little bit of background on who I am. So as Tess introduced me, I am Benita Samuels, and I am the founder and chief visibility officer at Visibility Solution Group. I have been in the digital and social space since, yikes, as I say this out loud, when it was known as new media. It was at the start of websites way back in the late 90s and early 2000s. I am an early adopter for social media. You may not realize it, but LinkedIn existed before Facebook. And I have been passionate about these platforms for many years. So I focus a lot of the work that I do in three key areas. One is visibility impact planning, and that is a lot of what we talk about today. This is very much the surface of the places you need to be, but I like to work with clients to help them understand where they need to be, and then the tools they should be using to elevate that visibility. Second is I do LinkedIn subject matter work. So I work with individuals, small groups, and corporate on not only how to optimize your LinkedIn profile so that you are measuring up against your competitors and in the algorithms, but also how to use LinkedIn. The reality is, as I like to say, you wouldn't buy a car if you didn't know how to drive. Don't optimize your profile alone if you don't know how to use the platform. And then, of course, I do consulting across the digital landscape. So this is just a quick little overview of me. If you didn't have a chance to check out the articles I listed in my bio, please do that. There are a couple of articles where I was featured in Forbes. One is on visibility and the other is on LinkedIn. And I'm very proud to say that I was voted among Denver's top 15 LinkedIn experts this year. Before we go to questions, I have an offer for each of you here. So I want to ask, do you know your visibility factor? Are you curious to know how visible you are online? Well, here's a way you can find out with this 3-minute quiz. It is free. All you need to do is scan the QR code, or if you prefer to type it in, and it will take you about 3 minutes, and it will give you a customized report on how visible you are on the digital and social landscape. So I encourage you to do this. It gives you some tips and tricks beyond what we've talked about today. And there is a follow-up document that will outline the 5 places you need to be online and why. I know that we have about 15 minutes. I'd love to open up the floor to answer questions. We can do this live, or if you want to chat, I'm happy to do it either way. Tess, do you have a recommendation on how you'd like to open up the floor for questioning?
Yeah, I think either which way. Great to have people come off mute, but if they prefer to put questions in the chat, that's great too.
Well, let's start by putting things in the chat. Does anybody have any questions? I'm very happy to answer.
Oh, I just want to ask, because I'm on my phone. Would you be willing to just do an assessment of a website, just to kind of like, listen, I don't see this. What are you doing here? You need to shut down your business. No.
Right. No. So I offer here. I will put. I have to grab it, but I will grab my calendar link and I'll drop in here. I do both what I call a LinkedIn laser session, and I do a 15-minute assessment to help guide. So I'm happy to do that for you. Actually, here, do I have no, I don't have my calendar link here. But what I would recommend, what you can do, oops, I went too far. I'm going to stop sharing here for 1 second. And I will, here I am, and there is everybody. I will grab my calendar link and I will drop it in the chat for you. How's that? So anybody have any other questions?
I do. This just seems really overwhelming in all aspects of it, because it just seems like it's a constant trying to figure out your visibility. Is there are there some steps that you can be like, okay, if you get this, or for example, you said video content is very good. So for like TikTok, like I like TikTok because the ability to edit videos on that, it's really easy as opposed to any of the other platforms. But can you take that same video that you make and just do it across platforms?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because you have to remember your audience isn't generally in one place. So leveraging that content to distribute it across multiple platforms is highly valuable. And also, I don't know if you are a Canva user, but if you're a Canva user, you can create in Canva a single video and edit it and then distribute it across your platforms there too. You can also, in Canva now, if you are a bilingual, you can build it out, and with the new Magic tool, you can have it translated into multiple languages. You can resize it for the different platforms. I am not technical at all, but I do have success in using that tool. And so the overwhelm part, what I kind of tried to say before is break it up into parts. If you don't have a Google My Business page, say next Friday, I'm booking 1 hour on my calendar and I'm just going to set up my Google My Business page. It's nothing that you have to gather. You know all the information that goes into it, and you'll be done before the end of that hour. And that's one thing's done. And then for posting on Google, unlike social media, you shouldn't post every day. I tend to post twice a month. So you can build that into your content calendar. This piece of content I'm going to post, when I'm posting a blog, the following week after I post it, I'm going to put it on Google. The reason I say the following week is because it reintroduces it into the algorithms for search. So you're continuing bumping that search value. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. And I already booked a calendar link for you, so I'll be seeing you soon.
I'm happy to chat with you. I mean, I'm very blessed. I love what I do, and having spent 35 years in global brand marketing, it's lovely helping people who really are passionate. I don't know if everybody knows here, but 90%, I think it's 90% of businesses in the state of Colorado are small businesses. We literally run the state. Did you know
That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yes. And we have the most fruitful entrepreneurs in the country. It's one of the highest level of entrepreneurs in the country. So, we're in a great place.
Benita, I was curious for more specifics on the business directories. Like, obviously, it kind of depends on what your company does, but yeah, what are kind of go-to places for directories?
Right. So directories are one of those things that can be challenging based on your industry. But for me, I think the best place to start is, when you are looking at your organization. So like if you are working on your LinkedIn profile and you're filling in all the organizations there, which you should, think about which one of those have directories, because that's the low hanging fruit. That's the, your networking organizations. Most of those, I'm part of the Denver Jewish Chamber of Commerce, and I have my business listed there. And if I tell you, I get people who call me from that directory all the time, and that's free. So think about the organizations you are in. Then think about the next level are category specific places where they have content. So I know like in health and wellness, there are a lot of online directories that are low or no cost. For consultants, you can set up, I'm trying to think of the name of it. I would have to go back and look, but there's a listing for consultants. I tend to say your best place is starting with those organizations that you are a member of, or that offer a directory that you don't even have to be a member of the company. Does that make sense? Yes.
Yeah. All right. So I made a plan to let's see if this works, Benita. I'm going to attend the Jewish Women's, I think it's the Chamber of Commerce, but the breakfast.
The breakfast. Yeah.
Yes. Because I'm in food. Right. And I want to connect with communities that really have like a deep historical connection to food or lack of. And, so I'm hoping this works for me.
So, so you're in food. So go to Denver Restaurant Association.
Mm-hmm.
They probably have some kind of directory or opportunity. Go to, do we have Johnson and Wales? Is that the university?
They're closed.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
How sad.
Yeah. It's a commissary kitchen now.
Wow.
Well, mostly, yeah.
And go, get yourself listed on Yelp, because that's a real strong one there. You could also go to what's the other one? TripAdvisor. Well,
I don't own a restaurant. Right. It's e-commerce of food products like pantry items. So and I've heard not great things around Yelp. How aggressive they are, and it's just like, listen, I don't need that in my life.
Sometimes they can be as far as trying to get you to advertise. But Carol, you scheduled time with me, right?
Yes, I will be doing that. Yeah. Sweet.
So I'm happy to do a little digging and give you some ideas.
Yes.
The other thing, and I know this is kind of crazy, but if any of you have ventured into ChatGPT, go into GPT and give it a prompt saying, what are some organizations that have directories in e-commerce food?
Okay.
Or things like that. Because that will, it's amazing the kind of prompts and ideas it can give you.
Oh, I'm all about the ChatGPT. I'm having it create a quiz for me. That's great. So I love that. For my website, as a lead generator.
That's great. And Sona, when you were talking about content, I'll go to ChatGPT and I'll write a piece of social and I'll ask it to give me prompts for a reel with captions. And it just adds to your ability. And I'm happy to answer. This is a process. Being a small business owner, there's so much that we don't know what we don't know. I've been in business for 7 years and I was in corporate for 35. I worked on brands, everybody knows. You probably have them in your home right now. But it's a very different world as a small business owner. And so having community is incredibly valuable. Well, I know that we are coming up. We've got about 5 more minutes. Is there anyone else who wants to ask any questions or comment? I'm happy to do that, or, we can get back a few minutes. I need help with navigating online social media presence. So Anaima, and again, I don't apologize if I'm not pronouncing your name right. Can you drop in the chat a little bit more clarity on what it is? Is it about which social media tools you should be using. And if that's the case, when we think about social media comes in different forms, and we have different audiences that focus on the different platforms. I think of LinkedIn as social networking versus Facebook and Instagram as social media, because those platforms have turned more towards if it's not a highly personal channel for business, it's really about selling my stuff. And so if you are looking to reach a type of audience, so I'll say auto worker, somebody who works in the automotive industry, they don't use LinkedIn as much as they use Facebook. So I would focus more heavily on Facebook in that. So I really think about what is the industry where your audience is spending their time. If you're talking, so you're saying LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. So I would, in this case, and again, I don't know who your audience is, but I always start with the foundation of LinkedIn. And then I develop content and distribute it across the multiple platforms. Now, LinkedIn, I might not use the same graphic image that I would in Instagram. And I certainly wouldn't use the number of hashtags on LinkedIn that I do on Instagram, because their algorithms read them differently. And the other thing is, if you are just starting in the social landscape, pick one platform, get it up, get some consistency, and then add a second. I wouldn't say set them all up at once. It's just too hard to manage them. If you are doing videos, you can build your YouTube channel, keep it private until you have, 10 videos up there, and then open it up and then promote them one by one, so that you don't have to think about loading it in week after week right away. Jeff, you said you're interested in what's the worst mistake you have seen someone do on LinkedIn. Oh my God. The worst? Well,
this is going to be good.
The reality, I could name a bunch, but I think the worst for me personally is cold messaging. I mean, I would be surprised if there's not anybody on this Zoom who hasn't been on LinkedIn and has gotten a cold message. The reality is LinkedIn is not set up for success in cold messaging. It's really quite the turnoff. LinkedIn is about building relationships. The other thing is, I am an Xer, full transparency here. And so for LinkedIn, historically, until November of 2021, the platform was highly populated with boomers and Xers. Well, as you can imagine, we're aging out and we're leaving the workforce, and we're not as actively engaged in our social business presence. And the population of LinkedIn has shifted. So now millennials are the largest population on LinkedIn. So when we see posts on LinkedIn that are much more personal for an Xer or a boomer, we tend to cringe because we say that's not for this platform. But I have to say, I didn't grow up in the social world being vulnerable and transparent on LinkedIn, where millennials have grown up on social media. And so they are very comfortable doing that. So for those of us who cringe when we see that on LinkedIn, we just have to get over ourselves because it's changing. So I would say cold messaging is my number one pet peeve. And then I still struggle with the personal stuff.
Huge thanks, Benita. So many great takeaways for everybody. So really appreciate you taking the time to share your expertise. Thanks so much.